Good evening and welcome to the March 27th, 2025 Spalding County Board of Commissioners zoning public hearing. The time is 6 p.m. I would request that you please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. At this time, I would request that you please stand for Commissioner Gwen Flowers Taylor to offer the invocation and remain standing while Commissioner James Dutton leads us in the pledge to the flag.
If you will join me, please, and bow your head. Father God, we come to you this evening in thanksgiving, thanking you for fresh air, even though it's filled with pollen, fresh water to drink, safe places to live, and families to love us. We know that there are some today who are suffering and without these conveniences, but we still thank you, and we ask your indulgence for those who are going without. We ask you to be in this room tonight. We ask you to give us the discernment, the patience, and the endurance to be able to listen to what we need to hear and make the best decisions for our county and our county's growth. We ask you to be with our first responders, those who are out on a daily basis, firemen, police officers, EMS, paramedics, anyone who is providing a service to us on call. We ask you to bless them, bless their service, and allow them to continue to be able to serve Spalding County. Bless this board and bless this community. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Flowers Taylor and Commissioner Dutton. We'll now move to the non-zoning business. The first item on the agenda is to consider a resolution for the leasing of fire trucks for Station 8. County Manager? Fire
Mr. Chair,
Chief.
I would ask Chief Byrd to step forward.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We had come before you a month ago or so and got the approval for the equipment for Station 8. As part of the document, the leasing equipment, we had to have this document to go with it. And the paperwork's finalized, ready to go, and we just need this last proclamation to make it all
So
legal.
we approved this before, and now they require resolution from us.
This is required
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve a resolution for the leasing of fire trucks for the new Station 8.
I have a motion, and I have a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Well done, Chief. We will now proceed with the public hearing. Persons desiring to speak must sign up in the appropriate application. When called, please stand, state your name and address, and direct all comments to the board only. Each speaker will be allocated 3 minutes. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, we're now in public hearing.
Mr. Chair, the first application for public hearing this evening is to update the official zoning map of Spalding County per Appendix 4 zoning Article 23, Section 2302.
Just for clarification, is there any actual zoning changes, or are we just changing the map to match what already exists?
So this is
Director?
going to occur several times this year. It did not occur, unfortunately, any last year due to turnover in the office. But this is simply reflects from time to time what occurred, in this case, all of 2024 as far as zoning actions that were approved. This is nothing new. This is things that were already heard by the board and approved. So the updated map just reflects actions from 2024.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the,
This is just public hearing.
Yes.
okay.
Sorry, yes, that's my bad. All right,
Oh, Mr. Chairman, many of these parcels are the parcels up around Sunnyside that I'm noticing. Okay.
all right. We'll start reading.
Mr. Chair, application number 2 is 2501S, Jose Roberto Rodriguez Rivera, owner, 121 Meek Street, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 202, the 3rd Land District, parcel number 239-06021, consisting of 1.97 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception on an AR1 agricultural residential parcel to be able to keep a replacement mobile home on the property.
We have somebody who signed up?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, let's move on.
Mr. Chair,
Do we need to open and close a public hearing on all of these, or just can we open a public and go talk to the?
we will open one and then take each application and then close at the end.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, application number 3 is 2327S ACA Ventures, Asik Lani, 3458 Seaman Road, Griffin, Georgia, approximately 2.49 acres, located in land lot 113 of the 2nd Land District, parcel number 201-01012A. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a convenience store gas station per section 1303B2.
Do we have anybody who signed up?
Yes, sir, we do.
He's coming forward.
Amos Lorette, is that correct?
Amos Surratt, 336 Bar H Road, Griffin, Georgia. I believe, my concern with the gas station at 155 in Teeman, how are they gonna put retention pond on 2.5 acres? Then, are they gonna update turning lanes, red lights? Are they gonna have more than one entrance? I hadn't seen any plans on that particular, venture yet, and a little concerned about some of the stuff with turning lanes and stuff on it, and plus the retention pond. You don't have it 2.5 acres. How you gonna put a gas station and have a big enough place to put a retention pond? And plus, that's close to Troublesome Creek. There's 2 ponds right close by, so if there's any, hazardous material spills over there, it's gonna go straight into the waterways. And then that's gonna go into Henry County's reservoirs also, from Troublesome Creek. So I just think y'all really need to reconsider about approving that. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Connie Goodwin,
Connie Godwin, 287 Conkle Road, Hampton. I'm not a resident of Spalding County, however, I'm a 30-year resident of Henry County, your neighboring sister county. My husband and I live on 30 acres of family land. We have a large pond. We have farm animals. I guess you'd say a small homestead. And the city is moving in on us as it is going to everywhere. And I just want to stand up, I guess, for the young couple that has bought and had their land rezoned agricultural right next to where this Teeman Road potential gas station, convenience store will be. That they've worked so hard and have done so much and are teaching their children how to live off the land, to raise animals, to reach out to the community. They have a huge plan to help the local community, to help the needy with food. And everybody's got their opinion, and I guess no one really cares about mine, but I just feel very strongly about it because I see what they're doing, and there's a gas station on every corner, and there are going to be a lot more coming. And I just think that would ask that the board would consider what this young family is doing and their contribution to the local community, with what they're doing. And I think that the community would be far greater off to have what they're doing than to have another gas station. You can buy gas right up the street anytime you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody.
Kavir Langston,
My name's Carver, and I live on 2423 North McDonough Road. And I have a chicken business, and if we keep that gas station up, I'll have to stop my chicken business so I can make money. And then we also have a pond so I can go fishing. Me and my family can go fishing. And if we keep that gas station up, we're going to have to move, and I'll have to quit my business.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go sit down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Samantha Langston.
Hold it. I think Mom may have.
My name is Samantha Langston, 2423 North McDonough Road. I strongly oppose the proposed construction of a gas station on the property adjacent to mine. This development presents significant risks to my family's agricultural pursuits, environmental health, and overall well-being. We recently purchased our property to establish a farming business, officially approved in December of 2024. A gas station next door jeopardizes these plans by threatening the integrity of our soil, water, and ecosystem. Underground storage tanks at gas stations are notorious for leaking hazardous chemicals like benzene and toluene, which can contaminate the soil. Such contamination would render our crops unsafe for consumption or for sale, severely impacting our livelihood and violating our legal soil rights. Additionally, our 2-acre pond, which is located near the proposed site, is fed by the runoff from the surrounding area, including this proposed site. Rainfall would carry spilled fuel and oil directly into the pond, contaminating the water and endangering the fish we rely on for food and for income. The pond also serves as a water source for our animals and is used by protected wildlife species such as hawks. Contamination would devastate the ecosystem and make it impossible to maintain a sustainable farm. Gas stations also emit volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides, which contribute to air pollution. These pollutants harm human health and agricultural productivity, with high levels of ground-level ozone damaging crops and reducing yields, further threatening our farming operations. Per Section 413G, this property must meet 8 criteria for approval as a special exemption, or a special exception. Here are the two of the criteria. The development must not be detrimental to the use or development of adjacent properties. Placing a gas station next to my farm would directly harm my ability to use the property for its intended agricultural purposes. The benefits or need for the special exemption must outweigh the potential depreciating effects and damages to neighboring properties. Our farm is projecting to generate over $50,000 in the next year. A gas station would not only eliminate this revenue, but would render the land unusable for farming. Moreover, this location does not need another gas station, as several already operate within the vicinity. While I am not opposed to the property being commercial, we are aware of its commercial zoning when we purchased. It is crucial to note that a gas station requires a special exception. This proposal is not an automatic right simply because the property is commercial. Approval of this special exception would cause irreparable harm to my family's livelihood and to the environment. There have been no attempts to even try to protect my property or my business, my legal rights or my soil rights. There have been no environmental impact studies, no water studies, and no berm as I recommended from the business. The tanks could also be put above ground to attempt to prevent damage to the soil, as leaks are easier to detect, but nothing has been done, and I haven't even been able to speak with anybody about this situation.
Thank you.
Amanda Gilbert.
Amanda Gilbert, 1121 Amelia Road. I have concerns about the gas station as well. I know that because of a recent study on traffic that it's a dangerous intersection, so I'm not sure what the proposed future of that intersection is going to be. I can't imagine having a family right next to a gas station. And I don't know what their hours are going to be, if it's going to be all night, and having the cars and the people so near to my kids. So I don't know if there's any fencing that they're talking about. I don't know if there's any berm. I know that they have great plans and they've done a lot in a short amount of time with their farm. I know from personal experience that they've lended me animals to be able to go to public school for career day and to teach on their behalf about the animals. So they've helped in the school system, and I'm sure that they have plans to do more of that. They've already started a food pantry that's benefited for several weeks families. So they donate a lot to the community. I don't know what's in place that they have planned to prevent the runoff, because that will ruin their pond, which their animals rely on and they want to have for fishing for the community to make money off of. Someone already mentioned I'm concerned about Troublesome Creek and the runoff that could happen into there, and that does go into the Talladega. So there is that concern. I know there's already several gas stations right in the vicinity. So they know that it's commercial, and it is commercial, but I also feel a special exemption isn't a guarantee for something that's zoned commercial. I would like to see that there be some consideration into how this will affect the neighboring properties and even on Tiemann Road, the neighbors there, and the safety. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Stephanie Webster.
Hello, Stephanie Webster, Bar H Road, Griffin. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here to ask you to vote against granting the special exception for the proposed convenience store. I believe the zoning exception is not in the best interest of the surrounding neighborhood. As you know, the comprehensive plan designates the intersection of Tiemann and SR 155 as a crossroads community. The plan states, these areas should be prioritized for community improvement and placemaking incentives as part of a greater effort to make Spalding more unique and inviting. C1A zoning districts are intended to establish and preserve small business areas of a limited nature that serve primarily the residential neighborhood in which they are located. Although the C1A zoning allows for the convenience store exception, that use doesn't benefit the neighborhood because there are currently 3 other convenience stores within 2 miles of the subject property and another being built across from Heron Bay. Therefore, access to services provided by the proposed convenience store, such as gasoline, cigarettes, lottery tickets, alcohol, and various food items, are already available. The current zoning allows for various uses, including a restaurant, medical office, bank, and various retail, which would better serve the neighborhood as these are services not yet in the area. These businesses also don't operate 24/7 and are significantly less likely to attract undesirable elements. The FBI reported convenience stores are the 4th most common location for violent crime. This brings an undesirable element closer to our homes than they are currently. Special exceptions must not adversely affect the health and safety of residents or workers. The petitioner's response to this was the store could provide needed services to the surrounding county. How does this answer the question? Anyone that travels Tiemann knows how difficult it is to turn onto SR 155 against traffic. At the busiest times of days, it can be near impossible. With the addition of the convenience store at that intersection, traffic issues will increase significantly, which endangers anyone traveling through that area. There is not currently a traffic light at that intersection, and I don't believe the information provided shows that there are plans to add one. If you choose to approve this special exception, it should have a requirement for a traffic light at that intersection. In conclusion, allowing a convenience store on the subject property is a safety concern, doesn't provide needed services that meet local needs, and isn't unique or inviting. Is another convenience store in the area what we want for Spalding? Just because the current C1A zoning allows the special exception for a convenience store doesn't mean it makes sense. Please vote no. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that's all who have signed up for that application.
Okay.
Application number 42502S, John M. Shepherd II, owner, 104 Gaynor Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, and Tower Engineering Professionals Incorporated applicant, located in land lot 110 of the Second Land District, parcel number 200A01057, consisting of 4.92 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception on an AR1 agricultural residential parcel for a new monopole telecommunications tower. There's one person who has signed up for this application, Mr. Chair, Alan Benton.
I would like to ask before I start, this is
The
Mr.
name
Timmons
address.
here, and he represents the cell tower. If he's gonna speak, I want him to speak before me.
We need to name it.
How it works. Need your name and address, please, sir.
My name's Alan Fenton, 108 Gaynor Road.
You have somebody else who didn't sign up that you want to speak?
Well,
No,
are
he
you
wants the applicant to speak before him.
No,
So I want him to speak
no,
before me.
sorry, we're not.
This is your 3 minutes, mate.
Yeah, this is
They
individual
did that.
residents.
He told me the last time, I went before he did last time, and he told me that he should have went first.
No,
Are you talking about, Mr. Fenton, you talking about the planning commission?
Yeah, when I was in here the time before.
Microphone, Mr.
Planning
Newton.
commission, the planning commission follows a little different protocol than BOC does. This board has set it up to hear all the hearings at one time. I'm sorry, not all the hearings, but is hear them in order with all of the speakers other than the applicant at one time, so they can concentrate on the applicant at the conclusion,
Mr. Chairman.
which is their right to do.
Commissioner
During
Frosch?
the actual working of this application, doesn't the applicant and their representative have an opportunity to speak during that?
They do, yes, ma'am.
Yes, they
Yeah,
will.
When we actually go into business. So
Yeah.
there will be an opportunity,
But not for,
not for, I mean, if you
Not for a
haven't signed up
citizen.
for public hearing, yeah, this is just for the public hearing part, but when the application comes up,
That's when they
your
speak.
person can.
that's not his person. He's asking to speak after the applicant.
That's not the protocol.
Yeah, I mean, he's not signed up, is what you're saying, right?
He doesn't. He speaks during new business. So this is the
The
public
sh-
hearing.
The short answer is no.
This is the
The
public hearing.
applicant will be able to speak when we get into our side of the house to be able to ask questions and make conditions for that.
Okay.
Okay? Sorry, sir. That's
Can-
not the
can I
rule
ask a
we follow.
question Before I start, when
Yeah.
will you decide this? I don't understand the process.
I'm sorry. That's the way we've been doing it.
No,
I-
just-
Planning Commission may do it differently. That's not us.
No, what I'm asking though is, so I'm gonna speak, and then I guess at some point he's gonna speak. But what I'm asking is, when are you gonna when are you gonna take a vote on this?
Tonight,
Tonight.
With everybody out here?
yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Did a handout, somebody didn't get a handout, right?
Yes.
Did everybody get a handout?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good. Okay, so you got two documents in front of you. One is a partial document of the summary of the zoning to this point for the county, and the other is entitled 108 Gaynor Road, that's where I live, and it's an issues document. So I'm gonna basically, to begin with, I'm gonna refer to your zoning document, and then I'm gonna go to the my issues document. So to begin with, on your zoning, under section 1 on the first page I've got here, you've got no detriment or to the neighborhood or no adverse effects to the resident or workers. And what I did, going to my document, page 1, I did a chat GTP, which is AI. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. I just put in the search terms, all the adverse effects of cell towers on homes and homeowners, okay? Basically wording it the same way you did with adverse effects. I didn't taint it anyway. And this is a list, which you have here, of all the adverse effects. So saying there's no adverse effects obviously isn't correct. You know, whether you want to look at some or discount some, but there's a whole entire list of adverse effects here. Okay, and I'm just gonna say, that I was here for another meeting and you had a time clock. And I thought you were gonna time this one, so I actually, oh, there is a time. Oh, well, I could better get, I didn't see it. Oh, man, I'm not gonna get through this then. Okay, so there's adverse effects. And if you go to page 4, it's a summary of a lawsuit, environmental health versus FCC, where the court ruled that environmental health, found in favor of environmental health and ordered FCC to address health issues that it's not currently addressing. And to this point, I don't think they've addressed those. They haven't changed their regulation to address those. And if you go to the next page, page 5, that's a page from an article showing where the Supreme Court struck down Chevron, which was the governing doctrine for the FCC to have their regulations. So they've basically been ordered to revise the regulations. They haven't done it, okay? If you go to page 6, this is a zoning or an area map of Central Georgia EMC's area, coverage area. I've outlined in red Spalding County and X this area. If you go to the next page, which Central Georgia EMC covers this entire area. If you go to the next page, which is number 7, it shows an advertisement for high-speed internet and telephone service being offered by Central Georgia EMC. So if you live in this area, you have to have Central Georgia EMC. You also can have a phone. You don't need a cell phone. Is that it? All right. Holy moly. I was sitting back there and I didn't think you had a timer going.
Sorry, thank you.
Wow. All right. Well, you can look it over. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, application number 52501, Flume, Raul Mateus, owner, 2407 Old Atlanta Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the 3rd Land District, parcel number 104-05009, consisting of 11.54 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R2 Single Family Residential and C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community for a townhome development in a commercial corridor rural neighborhood area, thus requiring a future land use map amendment. There are 4 people who have signed up for this application. Lindsay Homan,
Lindsay Hortman.
thank you.
You're fine. 211 Westmoreland Drive. And items 5 and 6 kind of go together. So if it's okay, can I just speak on both? Because I think the 3 people that were registered to talk are it's the whole lot together. Okay. Hi. So I continue to speak out in opposition with my neighbors on Westmoreland Drive and Sunset Drive for the proposed 77 attached townhouse community referenced for items 5 and 6 on the agenda tonight. At the January 28th Planning Commission meeting, the recommendations were made, which I'm assuming you're reviewing today, and they did make a recommendation to deny the proposed rezoning, but to allow the flume. So I'm still speaking out in opposition. In review of the Spalding County zoning details, it's indicated that to proceed with the proposed changes, the individual must justify that the current property type, R2, creates an unnecessary hardship. I'm not speaking out in opposition to the C1 changes, but the change to R2 to R6, I am speaking out in opposition to that. We continue to ask why an R3, like Westmoreland and Sunset, was not considered or proposed prior to the jump to R6, especially with the numerous variances requested due to not meeting the R6 requirements as is. My key points of opposition from the January meeting stand true today. High density increases the crime, safety and noise levels, the concern about the increased class sizes at the Cowan Road Elementary and Middle Schools. I won't go into the minutes of what we talked about last time, but I did want to say that after hearing the January comments, I did a little bit of research on the proposed developer, and they complete urban boutique developments for large cities like Smyrna and Kennesaw, which doesn't align with our desire towards a suburban transition in the 2042 comprehensive plan. On pages 46, 47, and 60 of that plan, it states that we desire to transition towards a suburban area, and we would only consider that if it mirrors the housing present in the area and if comparable with surrounding densities. Mr. Ledbetter himself was quoted stating that our community is heavily burdened on the residential side. And while these comments were made regarding taxes and revenue burdens, sorry for using you, it still stands true to this scenario as well. Allowing a high-density 77 attached townhouse development to proceed puts an additional unnecessary burden and adds to our public service workers' stress in our community and goes against our comprehensive plan. Approving this development in any way, whether it be through a future rezoning request or review of the developer's proposed variances, risks shifting our part of the community not to suburban, but to an urban, high-density Atlanta metro-style community that is not reflective of what Griffin Spalding is or desires to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Gresham.
Hello, my name's Mike Gresham, 2447 Old Atlanta Road. I've been on the corner there for pretty much my whole life. My grandmama and them built the house in 58. I can't touch much more than what she said, but the traffic now is so bad I had to put a fence and a gate up on my driveway, thinking it was Sunset Drive. Grandkids playing in the yard, get run over. No, we can't do that. 77 homes on 11 acres. It don't even sound feasible. But, like I said, she touched on pretty much everything I was, and, thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Ulysses Gilbert.
Ulysses Gilbert, 109 Sunset Drive. How everybody doing? That is good. How many of y'all own homes?
Mr. Gilbert, this is your opportunity to speak to
I'm
the board,
speaking.
and yes, sir, but they
No
can't
question.
answer questions.
Well, I just want to know how y'all would feel with apartment complex being built in your backyard, because that's essentially what's about to happen if y'all pass it. I've been there 20-something years, a lot of my neighbors here. We have pretty close-knit little community, everybody get along, we all look out for each other. I don't think that any kind of apartment home, town home, anything like that would even fit in the dynamic of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lisa Gilbert.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Gilbert, and I live at 109 Sunset Drive. I've lived there almost going on 27 years. And last year our house burnt down, and I had the option to rebuild or to move elsewhere. But I chose to rebuild because I like where I'm at, my neighbors, and everything. And then after that, I saw the proposal of building a townhouse on the little 11 acres of land that is behind my neighbors across the street. And I don't think it's a good idea that you try to cram so many families and townhomes into one 11-acre lot. I really wish y'all would reconsider this, because most of us have lived there for many, many years in that area. So I hope that y'all vote against this and everything. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I will read the remainder into the record. Application 2502Z, Raul Matias, owner, 2407 Old Atlanta Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 104050009, consisting of 11.54 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R2 Single Family Residential and C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community for a townhome development. Application 2502V, Raul Matias, owner, 2407 Old Atlanta Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 104050009, consisting of 11.54 acres. The applicant is requesting a variance for rear access and certain amenity requirements for a townhome development. Application number 6, application 2502 Flume North Expressway Incorporated, owner, 2230 North Expressway, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 1040510, consisting of 2.24 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community for a townhome, for a townhome development in a commercial corridor, rural neighborhood area, thus requiring a future land use map amendment. Application 2503Z, North Expressway Incorporated, owner, 2230 North Expressway, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 1040510, consisting of 2.24 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community for a townhome development. Application 2503V, North Expressway Incorporated, owner, 2230 North Expressway, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 1040510, consisting of 2.24 acres. The applicant is requesting a variance for the rear access and certain amenity requirements for a townhome development. Mr. Chair, no one has signed up for that application. Application number 7, 2506Z, Remington Rehoboth LLC, Brian Remington, owner, 1118 Rehoboth Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 244 of the Second Land District, parcel number 221-01037, consisting of 26.32 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R4 Single Family Residential to PDD Planned Development District for an industrial use. This case will go before the Board of Commissioners on March 27, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Spalding County Annex Building, room 108, 119 East Solomon Street, Griffin, Georgia. There's no one who has signed up for this application either, Mr. Chair.
Let me say thank you for everybody who came forward and spoke. We appreciate that. That's how we stay in touch with the citizens and what your concerns are. At this time, do I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
And do I have a second? Yes. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0, we're now out of public hearing.
Mr. Chair, new business. First item on the agenda this evening is to update the official zoning map of Spalding County per Appendix 4 zoning, Article 23, Section 2302.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Did we, Steve, you read the ABC with item 6 in the public hearing. Was that also item 7, the application?
I did read item 7 as well, yes ma'am. Yes ma'am. That was separate. That was a separate application. I read application 2506Z Zulu as number 7 for Remington Rehoboth LLC.
I just missed that. I thought we had skipped one. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Do I have all right, does everybody remember what we're talking about here? This is, Director, as I remember this conversation we had earlier, this is catching up on all the rezoning actions that we did in 2024.
Yes, sir. From time to time, the board must re-adopt the zoning map that is updated. Typically, this is done 2 or 3 times a year. However, last year was a up and down year with community development, so we missed it last year. So we're starting with this time, this map to reflect all the changes on the updated colored zoning map that were occurred in 2024, that were approved in 2024. As was stated earlier, most of those involved the Sunnyside rezoning when it became a unincorporated area from a small city it was, and then there was a couple of rezonings in the fall that were approved as well. So
The Sunnyside, that makes more sense now. I was like, this is a lot more than we've ever had to
yes,
do.
mostly
But it's all of
Sunnyside.
Sunnyside. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Now that makes a lot more sense.
So the small print map you have in there reflects all of these changes, and the larger map, which is in the Community Development Office, will reflect this as well.
Okay.
But again, this doesn't actually change anything zoning. It's just changing the map to reflect what the zoning is right
Correct.
now.
Yes.
All the ones that were already approved, it shows them all fully up to date.
Do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
Mr. Chair, application number 2501S, Jose Roberto Rodriguez Rivera, owner 121 Meek Street, Griffin, Georgia 30223, located in land lot 202, the 3rd Land District, parcel number 239-06021, consisting of 1.97 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception on an AR1 agricultural residential parcel to be able to keep a replacement mobile home on the property.
And it's a replacement. There's already a mobile home. It's coming down, and they're putting a replacement mobile home
No,
up.
it's already down.
It's already down.
And the new one's up.
All right, Director, why don't you tell us about this, please?
So you're right, it did have a dilapidated or somewhat dilapidated mobile home on it at one time. The applicant, property owner, who also lives next door to this property, was putting up a replacement one with a new foundation and all, and doing interior improvements to it. It was realized by code enforcement that there was no permitting or inspections involved, so we stopped the work on it and alerted him that to even entertain the option of keeping this here, you're gonna have to get a special exception approval. Our code for basically what it says for this type of zoning, if a mobile home has been on a property and if it's been continuously lived in, fine, you can replace it with a better one. However, if it's been 6 months or more past without it being used as an active dwelling, then you have to come before this board for a special exception, special permission to have a replacement if one's been sitting there for a long time unoccupied. So that is the case with this one. This is why
Is it the
before you.
occupancy time?
It
or
says
is it
use as a
existence
dwelling.
Used as a dwelling?
That's how the code refers to it as.
Okay, and Planning Commission recommended what?
They recommended denial.
All right,
And David, you do have conditions if they desire to approve it.
I do. So, yes, there's no permitting, no inspections, which will have to be done. Aesthetic wise, it's a better home than was out there before. However, it does not also meet the square footage that is required for if you were to put a home out there. So, should the board choose to approve it, I did outline a procedure by which he could get to be legal, having the required square footage he needs. He'd have to put on an addition to it. Had to get numerous inspections as well as the official permits for it. So that is the conditions reflect that path to get it to be a legitimate house, should the board choose to approve it.
all right, and the staff recommendation?
I recommend it for approval based on following that path. However, I understand why the planning commission did not recommend it for approval. So the applicant is here. If you want to hear from him.
He gets to come up if he wants to.
Yes. Applicant, please step forward.
Hey, my name is Jose Roberto Rodriguez, and I own the property. And basically, I moved the mobile home, but everything is done to a foundation and have new siding and everything. So, just waiting for every other side.
The thing in, all those in red, are all good by you?
Yes.
If you say no to that, that would obviously turn it.
Okay, well, the thing is, my English is not well, so.
Okay.
So we had already discussed in the email, roof pitch is not right. He needs to add about 400 square feet of an addition to it to get it up to the proper square footage. Naturally, we need to apply for building permits so we can see at what stage this is at as far as inspections and the building official going out there and doing proper inspections. Need evaluation of the septic system. It may have gone from a couple of bedrooms with the old house to more bedrooms with this house. That needs to be verified. So there's just a path of structural things that need to happen to make this even legitimate. So.
I would think number 3 should include the impact fees as well. I think number 3 here should include the impact fees as well, at the very least. That said, what's the makeup of the neighborhood? If they had bought this land fresh and there had never been a mobile home or anything, would it qualify, with that, what is it, the 1 mile or however many, half mile?
I do have that report in here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I do have the required report in here. Also, there's pictures along Meat Street where, from what I saw when I was out there taking them, the 2 houses across the street look like modified mobile homes, as well as one next to it. So there is while not all of them are mobile homes out there, there is a considerable presence of mobile homes. With your map and your report here, with the pink being the subject property, the blue is all mobile homes as well.
There's a lot of mobile homes.
So I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
What was the square footage of the mobile home that was destroyed? Or the footprint on which the other mobile home was there?
It was not listed, the information was not listed on the, tax records. However, you did use the existing foundation location pretty much.
Yes, I did, but I went and added more to it.
You did add more to it?
Yes.
So it must have been smaller than 1,100 square feet if he added more to it, because it's 1,100 now. It needs to be higher, but if you added more to what it used to be out there, then it had to be below 1,100 square feet.
Yeah, and then you go to that neighborhood, it's more mobile homes, so you can see 1 or 2 houses. It's our mobile homes.
And you live next door.
I live next door to it.
Is this family that's gonna live in this one, or?
It's my mom. That's the reason why I went and moved her home, because she's getting old and I had to drive all the way to Marietta, so I came to the idea to move it there, but I made a mistake not coming and getting a permit. But,
Anybody else?
Yes,
Right,
go ahead.
I like them, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve with staff recommendations, but modifying those conditions for number 3 to include not just the building permit, but the impact fees. And I'd like to add a 6th condition that it's not to be used as a rental, property. He says his mom's on it, so.
I will second that for the purpose of discussion. First thing being, the impact fee for that property is already in place. So putting another house in the same place would not add additional impact fees.
Maybe not.
To the extent that it expands the use, it could. So if there's another bathroom, if there's another bedroom being added in the 400 square feet, I believe it would.
Well,
And it would be pretty minor. I mean, it's not.
It would be a minor.
So you mean the additional square footage would have to, okay, so, I mean, that's different.
Yeah.
Because we're.
no,
they're
actually,
different.
impact fees for dwelling units is just one unit,
Okay.
which is one house. It's not based on square footage.
I have to
So-
check the impact fee statute. I wasn't expecting
So
that.
that would be something that I would be concerned about in terms of us approving. And the other thing is that So I have a problem with telling people once we tell them this is yours, you can build it, what you can do with it. Because while it may be something for your mother, if your mother no longer can stay there or she has to stay in the house with you, you should have the right to be able to do whatever you want to with that property, including leasing it. So that's a little hard for me because that's not the same kind of requirement that I see that we put on anyone else with that same thing. So, yeah, that's what I got.
So for me, he's coming tonight with a request for a mobile home for his mother to live in. That to me is very different than, hey, I'm gonna build a mobile home and I'm gonna rent it out. So his request tonight is, and that's very key to me. Like I'm kind of on the fence. Oh, you live next door and your mom's gonna live in this one? Okay, man, that makes sense. That said, if he wants to come back after mom's passed, or it's not going to be owner occupied anymore, he can ask for that condition to be removed, just like he would if he had come tonight and he was like, no, this is just going to be a rental property. You see what I'm saying? He's pitching us tonight that his mom's going to live in it.
No.
And that makes sense to me, and I think he should get that. But I think it would be different if he was planning on renting this out. I wouldn't be in favor of it. He's building mobile homes to, use for rentals. So that's why I'm in favor.
Commissioner David was correct. Section 8-6004 provides that replacing a residential housing unit with another housing unit on the same lot or property is, hang on. I'm sorry, I left my glasses at the office. I'm sorry.
David might help you.
No, any person who, after the effective date of this ordinance, engages in development shall pay a development impact fee in it and the manner set forth. And this says.
Newton, if you're talking to all of us,
No,
you
they're
gotta put
just
the
reading-
microphone.
We're just reading it. He's helping me read. And I'm sorry.
That's the problem with us lawyers, is we read such fine print every day. It just burns our eyes out. That's the.
It is subject to an impact fee to replace.
So I'm gonna put Ashley on the spot here. Impact fee for a house, regardless of square footage, is just one set price, correct? Okay, yes.
So a replacement house will also have to pay the impact
That is
fee.
correct.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with that part of the motion. I heard something different. I heard you come up and say you wanted a house and incidentally it's gonna be for your mom. So I stand in a place where we are in a total housing shortage here. And any housing that we can get that is standard housing, that is affordable housing, that meets our requirements once it's completed, should be available for anyone to use. If it were a hardship, which we do have that, and he did not request that, then there should be, I think it should be tied to, there's a family member here and now you can, because under normal circumstances, if it were a hardship, once the family member no longer was alive, then you gotta take it down. And that's not the case here.
I need to correct myself again.
Okay.
And I apologize. I have been in a hearing all day. The provision of section 8.
This is what I was saying. Whatever the
6004.
impact fee is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
8 section 6004B says construction not subject to impact fees, and that includes the replacement of a residential
So
dwelling.
no impact
And I'm
fee.
sorry, there would be no impact fee
Okay.
associated with it, and I apologize.
So that's in your motion.
Yeah, but if the impact fee is zero, then it's zero. You can double zero and still zero.
All right. Any more discussion?
Yes, with that being said, I would like to rescind my second because I don't agree with, requiring him to, not be able to utilize that property for something else besides his mom staying there in the event that she's not living.
Okay.
So if you can get a
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Could you repeat the motion before you vote on it?
Motion is to approve with the staff's conditions. And I guess even though it's zero, the motion is to amend condition number 3 to include not just the building permit, but the impact fees, but there's 0. And then to add a 6th condition that it be used, that it not be used as a rental property, like a renter home.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4. All those opposed? 1. Motion carries. Thank you. You've got a lot of stuff to do. Make
Yes.
sure you- Yep.
Including a 400 square foot addition.
Yeah, that roof pitch is a.
Yes. All right.
And I apologize for the confusion I created.
It's fine. It's fine. All right.
Application number 3, 2327S, ACA Ventures. I seek Lane, 3458 Teeman Road, Griffin, Georgia, approximately 2.49 acres located in land lot 113 of the Second Land District, parcel number 201-01012A. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a convenience store gas station per section 1303B2.
All right, Director.
All right, so if you will, let me give a little bit of history on this. This was rezoned nearly 14 years ago in 2011 to the C1A zoning neighborhood commercial it is now. Back then, there was 8 conditions put on it, including a decel lane, an undisturbed buffer along the edge with a residential, and several other conditions. When the applicant came to me with the site plan, which is in your packet, I reviewed it against those conditions and found it met those conditions. It does show a decel lane. It does show the undisturbed buffer. There is 2 entrances. Somebody was asking about that. The one, obviously, on State Route 155 will have to be approved by DOT. But it does show an entrance on Teeman with a decel lane and then an entrance coming off of State Route 155. Somebody mentioned the community crossroads part of the comp plan a while ago, and there is the big asterisk on the map there with the orange and the yellow does show it as a community crossroads at the intersection of Teeman Road and 155. She did read the vision part of it, but I'd like to read the bottom part of the community crossroads part. It does say community crossroads are intersections where commercial uses can be introduced to provide needed services in areas that are primarily residential. At these sites, up to 2 contiguous parcels around the intersection may be developed at a low density and scale similar to surrounding development. So this is one parcel here that is rezoned. Should it be approved, or well, actually it's been approved, so at any point in the future at that intersection there can only be one more parcel possibly rezoned to commercial, and that will be it. You can't have 4 sides as commercial, so I just want to bring that to your attention. Also too, a point we realized last week was when we talked about the roundabout that's going to go at the intersection of Jackson Road and South McDonough Road at some point soon. There's 2 convenience stores / gas stations down there which may be gone due to that roundabout. So 2 of the 3 in the immediate area may not be there in the near future. So I just want to bring that up as well. Staff does recommend approval of the use for a convenience store with gas pumps. I do have the 7 conditions outlined there. Want me to read them? I will.
Yes.
Okay. Should the board choose to approve the application, the following minimum approval conditions shall apply. Septic permit must be obtained by Spalding County Health Department. Number 2, GDOT approval for the entrance off of State Route 155 must be obtained prior to development. Number 3, prior to a building permit being issued, exterior architectural plans, including canopy, shall be provided to and approved by the Community Development Department demonstrating compliance with rezoning approval conditions G. That referred to having a masonry facade on it. And you'll see in your packet the exterior building material should be brick or stone. You'll see in your packet there is a elevation of the front of the building there showing the stone. Number 4, prior to a building permit being issued, a landscape plan should be provided to and approved by the Community Development Department, demonstrating compliance with rezoning approval additions D, E, F, and other Spalding County landscape requirements. 5, all site lighting fixtures should be night sky friendly. That was also in the original conditions. And exterior lighting attached to the building should be decorative gooseneck lighting. 6, all new exterior signage shall conform to the county sign ordinance in the Village Node District. 7, alcohol sales are subject to separate approval by the Board of Commissioners and shall conform to the county alcohol ordinance. I believe the applicant is also here as well.
If the applicant's here, please step forward. Let's have an opportunity to hear from you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Mark Whitley with Whitley Engineering at 9451 Highway 19 North in Zebulon, representing ACA Ventures, the property owner. I would like to say something kind of started off this way. I know there were some comments, seemed like the main comments from the public. There was a few issues that involved some of the concerns about the tanks and possible leaks. And I would like to say that, you know, those things are so heavily regulated nowadays from the State Fire Marshal and from the EPD that these systems are almost never going to have those type of issues at all. Years ago, absolutely. But those are rare that you would have those type of issues nowadays. So those are heavily regulated. Also, the issues with stormwater, of course, there are local regulations through the county. We also have to work with doing the requirements of the state blue book. And then obviously there's regulations with EPD governing some of that also. So there's a lot of regulations that we know we got to address that we're comfortable that the environmental issues are not going to be an issue. However, I would like to offer this. I've talked to the owner. We know that the property owner next to the property had some concerns that she had tonight, and that we would be willing that if the board would, if this is appropriate to request this, to put this off for 1 month, and we'd be glad to meet with that property owner and talk to her and see if we can't help her with some of her concerns, if that's something that the board will want to entertain. If not, then we'll proceed.
All right. Do I hear a motion to table?
No, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, no, we're not there yet.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm looking at the map,
Okay.
and the property that you're making the application on is adjacent to, is right next to a vacant, looks like to be a vacant lot owned by the Howards. That is 13 acres. Is that the property that is the farm that
I think
someone
it's across
spoke?
the street.
Just this one.
I think it's the other side of the road.
I think she's that property that,
This is the property that's the farm is this one. So I'm having a hard time understanding how water runoff that will come through another piece of property is going to affect the one property that has the pond. And I also understand that it looks like on the back side, the long side of the triangle, I'm assuming that is where the 30-foot undisturbed buffer is going to be.
yes.
Not really sure what a 2-foot berm is supposed to be. That's like this tall. That's not gonna stop anything. So not really sure what that's supposed to do. But I'm just really trying to figure out, and listening to people talk, how that's going to affect that. I mean, I can see this is a hill that we're sitting on. I don't know if they're gonna flatten that hill out or not. Maybe, maybe not, because otherwise you have to go up the hill. But once that happens, if the retention pond, the way the picture looks like, is on the away from the roadway side, then it's going to be adjacent to this property that's owned by the Howards. So what happens, where does the water in the retention pond go?
So you have a property where it has no pavement on it whatsoever. You have a certain amount of rainfall that infiltrates and a certain amount of rainfall that runs off. When you put a gas station, anything, shopping center, anything on it, more water naturally runs off.
Right.
What the pond does is What the pond does is collect that water to a point and release it through a pipe at the same rate it would have had it been just a field. So it is collected and released at a slower rate. It doesn't just run off the ground and go wherever. It's collected to a certain point and released at a controlled rate.
So, but if you have impervious surface, you're gonna have runoff that doesn't be, that's not absorbed.
Yes, and that accounts for the pond to let it sit. This is why it's called a detention pond. It sits there for a temporary period of time and releases out of that small pipe at a slow rate.
Release it into the soil, the surrounding soil?
It goes into a ditch, usually a drainage ditch of some type like that.
So right now, if you drive that when it's raining, just the way that everything is sort of sloped there, the water's coming across the road this way, from that property into the
So
next
the
door
pond
pond.
across the street.
That's right.
So
And
that,
there's a stream right there as well that also goes into that pond. So if they dump into a drenching pond that comes through a pipe, it's gonna hit that little stream and go into their pond.
so that makes me wonder about what is the storm, nothing on here talks about the stormwater, what the stormwater prevention would be, because that would make me think, okay, there's an appropriate outlet for any runoff. You know,
And that impervious surface, like, even if the tanks aren't leaking, I mean, I've spilled gas before. Pumping my, and I've been doing it for 40
people
years.
do that in their front yard. I mean, so
But
it's not
if
like
a bunch of people are doing that, that's gonna go, it's gonna, with all that other water, it's gonna go right into that pond, it's gonna come out that pipe, into that stream, and into their pond.
so
There's a
that's
100% chance that's gonna.
that, well, I mean, there's always a chance. There was also a chance that the dam would break up at Towaliga too. So I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to understand the science behind, I mean, I get it. You don't want the soil contaminated, but for the family that was concerned about their farming being interrupted, there's 21 acres between you and them. So that for me is a problem.
It's just the street.
No, right here, that's C1A, this is the Howard's property, that's R2, and this is the property with I'm looking at this pond. So you're saying that this is a pond where the people have a farm? Okay.
That's what I'm saying, it goes straight across.
Commissioner, somebody who develops property uphill has a legal obligation to neither increase the amount of water going on the person who lives below them or increase the rate of flow going onto the person who lives below them. And the detention pond, Mark, you can correct me if this is incorrect, is intended to alleviate any increase in speed or amount of flow going downhill.
Yeah, and also not only that, but regulations that came in approximately 10 years ago, we also had to address water quality. We also had to address runoff reduction. So there are features put together that do treat some water quality also on these sites. So it's not just straight detention where the water just runs straight out of the pond. Older system, yes, but the newer requirements require those to also be addressed. So there are some requirements for water quality.
So you're telling me there's gonna be a filter on that retention pond?
There's usually like a sand filter that comes through it, but there's also other different ways to address through, some type of system. There are systems that you can actually put into a catch basin that actually filter it, and that filter can be removed and dumped and cleaned every once in a while. So there are natural ways to do it, and there's also some mechanical ways to do that. And I think we'd be glad to look into those types of things to provide those things.
And if the detention pond does not work properly and water, either by increased flow or amount, goes onto a downhill owner, they have a cause of action in trespass.
So my question to you is
ma'am.
that hill going away? Because that property sits up on a hill.
There would be some grading there, and I think that the actual grade of the property still will grade to the south and also drain toward Highway 155. I don't think it's gonna drain, I keep getting that thing. Keeps draining to the west, but it will drain to the south, almost due south, and to the ditch along 155.
Into the stream that goes under.
And there is a
155.
creek further down that does
Into the
cross
pond.
under the road.
For me, if you buy the residential property next to, Cherokee Rose, and then go, hey, I wanna build a house, they have to stop shooting. No, they don't. No, they don't. They're here first. If, you know, you build next to the lumber factory and go, man, it stinks. Sorry, they were here first. We have a farm across the street. I'm pro farmer, I'm pro wildlife, and I'm pro kid. If y'all vote against that little kid who came up here and spoke tonight, y'all have no heart. This is
fair.
an absolute no for me.
Absolutely not a fair thing to say.
Absolutely a no for me.
Okay. All right. How did the, planning commission vote?
They voted for approval, recommended for
Recommended
approval.
approval.
Okay. All right. Applicant asked for opportunity to meet with the neighbor and see if they couldn't work out what the situation was to make them both happy. Do I have a motion to table?
I have a question.
Yes.
Before you get a motion. If this application is tabled tonight, does that mean before it comes back again, it has to be reposted and all of the other stuff that has to be done?
You fulfill the public hearing.
Say again?
You fulfill the public hearing, therefore it does not have to be advertised.
Yeah, the
It's
advertisements are
advertised
for
at
the public hearing.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Do I have a motion to table?
So moved,
Till the-
Mr. Chairman.
How long did you say, didn't you say 30 days or something?
Whatever the next meeting is in
April 24th.
Okay.
Motion to table to April 24th.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4. All those opposed? 1. Motion carries. Thank
Thanks,
you
sir.
for your consideration.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, application number 4, 2502S, John M. Shepherd II, owner, 104 Gaynor Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, and Tower Engineering Professionals Incorporated, applicant, located in land lot 110 of the Second Land District, parcel number 200A01057, consisting of 4.92 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception on an AR1 agricultural residential parcel for a new monopole telecommunications tower. You do, yes, sir.
A lot.
Lots.
If you're carrying on a conversation, then please step out. For the people that are not interested in that conversation, and for those of us that are trying to understand what the issues are and trying to make a decision. I don't mean to say that meanly, but I understand that all of a sudden there's oh, hey, let's talk about this. Please step out, do that, and then come back in. All right? Director?
Yes, sir. This proposed cell phone tower is a monopole tower proposed at 104 Gaynor Road, which is off of Walker's Mill Road. It was looked at by the Planning Commission a couple of months ago. Planning Commission did recommend denial, as did the staff. You can make a case for emergency services, things of that nature, for a cell tower pretty strongly. However, I want to direct the board to a couple of things from our own telecommunications tower ordinance. There are some stipulations in there, and it's in your staff report, and basically the intent of Appendix I is this: to encourage the location of towers in non-residential areas and minimize the total number of towers in Spalding County. Okay, well, we have quite a number of towers within a 2.5, 3 mile radius, even up to 5 miles in this area, including right over the Henry County line and a couple other places nearby in Spalding County already, some towers. So the intent of that, to minimize the number of towers and keep them out from away from houses, is to what they call co-locate on an existing tower or something that's already up. So you minimize the number of towers. Part of the criteria for these applications is the applicant has contacted the owner operator of each tower and advised them of applicant's needs and requirements for the placement of applicant's antenna and or tower. Per the enclosed report, they were not contacted. That was at the time this was first heard. The applicant has sent a letter to the other tower operators and the other towers in mid-February. A little bit late to the process, but per an email I got today that they have not had any responses to the letters to the other towers. So there is that. The applicant used, instead of the 2.5 mile radius that's in our code, they used a 0.6 mile radius and judged that to be their standard for effective coverage. So it, of course, meets their requirements, but not the code requirements. So that's my problems with this. Like I said, you can make a case for cell towers, increasing emergency services and things of that nature, but parts of the code were not followed, and I think this is in a era where we're trying to kind of get away from the monopoles. I'm not sure this meets the intent of the tower ordinance to minimize the number of towers in the future and keep them away from houses. This is on a property, of course, the owner consents because they'll be getting a lease revenue from it if approved, but this is on a property with a house, and there are houses across the street and right next door as well, so.
Okay, is the applicant here?
Good evening. My name is Harold Timmons. I'm with Tower Engineering Professionals. I'm also here with Ms. Abby Porter of Tower Engineering Professionals. And what I would like to do, if I have the opportunity.
Address, please, I'm sorry, give us
Address, I'm sorry, 10700 Sykes Place, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, thank you.
If I have the opportunity, I'd like to go through the presentation that I made with the Planning Commission to be able to explain some of the things that are involved in locating the
Is this a
communication
short
tower.
presentation?
It's not a long presentation. I can break it down about halfway.
All right,
If
how
we
about
do that.
5 minutes?
Okay.
No more than 5 minutes.
If the director will put that presentation up, will you go down, please, to the radio frequency report? I'm sorry, the radio frequency report. Other way.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Mr. Chairman, in the this is your meeting, you run it how you want to, but in the past, when the applicant got to speak, or their representative, I don't
All right,
think
stop.
that
Go
we had
back, go back, go back.
a requirement on how
Go
long
back.
it takes for them to make their presentation.
You're right there.
We just don't
Stop
want to
it.
be on it.
Thank you.
Okay. What we have here is the area that is outlined is the area that Verizon Wireless is trying to improve the service in. And the dots around it are the existing towers that create the current network that is serving that area. Go down one slide. Slide. This map shows the red circle represents the 0.6 of a mile area that Verizon Wireless directed us to look for a location for a new tower. The yellow line is a 2.5 mile radius that your ordinance basically says, look in this area and identify existing structures and contact those structure owners to see if they will allow you to place your equipment on their towers. Next slide down. This again shows the existing towers that comprise the Verizon network, also the distances at which these towers are located away from the proposed location. You'll see that some of them are as much as 4 miles away, and some, the closest is about 2.2 miles away. Next slide down. This also shows some sites that are not a part of the Verizon Wireless network that we identified. The closest one being a half mile to the northeast, and that is a 220 kV power line structure that we cannot use. Nobody uses those structures. And then the next one after that is go back. Yeah, no problem. Is an independent tower, 0.8 of a mile. Next slide.
But you have contacted all the owners of each of these
Yes, we
towers?
have. And to further explain that situation, when we initially filed the application, because we were working with a 6/10 of a mile radius, we didn't see any value in contacting sites that were 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, or a mile outside of that ring, because from an engineering perspective, Verizon Wireless, it wouldn't serve Verizon Wireless engineered purposes. So we saw no value in that, but we realized that we still had to do it at the end of the planning commission, because the planning commission was of the opinion that had we done that at that time, they probably would have entered a recommendation of approval. So that was the only catch. So after that meeting, we sent the letters out, and we had that response back to the planning director prior to the February meeting. Of course, that meeting got canceled, or whatever the case may be. Next slide. Down. There we go. This is the existing coverage that is created by those dots outside that creates the Verizon network. The red coverage is poor coverage. And you can see there is quite a bit of poor coverage in this area, and in particular, the area inside of the black lines. Next slide down.
Okay, I don't see that.
Go
I
back
see
up.
poor coverage is blue, but I don't see blue in that circle.
The red is on-street and the blue is poor, but the on-street coverage is well below the standard in which Verizon operates its network or want to operate the network. It's below a standard that they want to sell to their customers. So they want to improve this so that they can improve the coverage for the customers.
And right there, by the way, well, last week, y'all just approved 1,700 new houses. I say y'all because I voted against it. But if we're going to put 1,700 new houses somewhere, we should probably not have their cell coverage in red.
Next slide. And so if this tower is approved, you can see how much the coverage has improved within the dark black lines. So it's a significant improvement over what exists if this is approved. And so we took a further look at this. One more slide down. We took a further look, and we ran a propagation model on the tower that I showed you earlier that was 0.8 of a mile away. That CCAT LLC tower, that is what we call a Crown Castle tower. We ran a propagation from that. If we placed our equipment on that, we would still need to go somewhere else within that area to provide a new tower because of all the bad coverage that continues to exist. So the location that we have did the greatest job for improving that with a single structure. And every single structure that is built that allows co-location, for every one of those additional co-location spots on that tower, that's one less tower application that this board would have to deal with because they could co-locate on that structure. Next slide, Ben.
And that's because this is the one that's going to be the closest to that new development. This is going to be the one that they're going to come to co-locate to
I'm gonna
service
skip
that.
this slide. This is what I think is the final slide. The ordinance also recommends and encourages that towers be located within non-residential areas. And certainly we understand that and we agree with that. And if a non-residential area was within our 6/10 of a mile area or just outside of that, that would have been the first place we looked. We would look to see if it had a proper size and if the owner was interested. We sent out 12 letters to property owners that we identified that had land that was large enough and had zoning that was capable to go through this process. We got one response. That one response is the one in blue where we are proposing this particular tower. So you want to encourage people to place towers in non-residential areas. But if you look at this map, all you see there is AR and residential. So there are no non-residential options for us to consider. So given the fact that the area, there's no non-residential options, especially within the 6/10 of a mile radius that we're restricted to for engineering purposes, and given what the coverage, what the placement of that structure does for the coverage in that area, it's the best and most viable option that we have. So we think it's a very reasonable request before this board. The property and the properties around it, they are heavily wooded properties. We're only going to cut in our driveway and our lease area within the wooded area and leave the remainder alone. We're also going to install additional landscaping around our compound so that, we further screen that particular structure. So we feel that given all of the requirements that we've met all the requirements, it's just a matter of a residential and AR area with no opportunities for non-residential location, but the area needs coverage and it needs it badly.
Now, David, talk to us about why the Planning Commission and yourself said no at this point.
So based on the planning commission went with my staff report for the denial, and they had concerns about I understand what he's saying about the other towers, but they were not contacted. The 0.6 mile standard was the standard they set. It didn't meet the code, so I had concerns about that. Main concerns was, again, the purpose and goals of this entire telecommunications ordinance. I'll read them. There's 5 of them here. Goals of this ordinance are to, number 1, encourage the location of towers in non-residential areas and minimize the total number of towers in Spalding County. Number 2, encourage the joint use of new and existing tower sites. Number 3, encourage users of towers and antennas to locate them to the extent possible in areas where the adverse impact, if any, on Spalding County is minimal. 4, encourage users of towers and antennas to configure them in a manner minimizing adverse visual impact. And 5, enhance the ability of providers of telecommunications services to provide such services to Spalding County quickly, effectively, efficiently. I feel if you approve this application, you have not met 4 of the 5 goals of that ordinance.
Comments or questions?
Which ones don't you think have been met?
He meets number 5, he doesn't meet 1 through 4.
So it doesn't. Help me out. Why do you think that?
Well, it's a residential area. That entire street has nothing but houses on it. I did see a couple of pieces across the street which were pretty large, which may have been a farm. I don't know why they didn't contact them back.
But isn't it still, aren't all that still zoned residential?
Yes, they are.
So is there anywhere in this area that isn't, I mean, I guess maybe the commercial at the crossroads?
Perhaps. The adverse visual impact, there's a 150 some odd foot tower right in somebody's yard. While they're agreeable to it, it's right up against, these are not large lots on this street, so it will have an adverse visual impact.
Mr. Chairman, there's hardly I would say 80% of the towers that are in Spalding County are on a residential lot. Certainly the ones that are in the city of Griffin are on a residential lot. So while I understand that the thought process is behind encouraging people not to develop in residential lots, that's not a deal breaker because we're talking about communication here. If there were other carriers that are in the area that can meet that need, that would be an issue for me. I mean,
You don't want 2 towers next to each other.
right, if they couldn't do that. But, people expect when they pick their phone up, they expect for some stuff to happen. And like so many other things, it's always not in my backyard. I was sitting here 15 years ago when some of the first towers applications came here. And I don't recall at that time that there was any conversation about, other than, the multitude of things that people say can happen to you from the cell phone. And not to be disrespectful to anybody, but in that time, if something was gonna happen to us by carrying this thing up next to our head all this time, we would be radiated. So I'm not, like I said, not to be disrespectful to anyone, but if someone's personal property, they have 4 acres and they wanna stick a big pole up in the middle of it, I mean, if I live next door to them and I don't like it, I can just look the other way. But I have a problem with telling folks what they can do on their property. And I think that if the intent is to discourage that or to look for other options, I think that they've looked, and I think that there aren't any that are viable. So while I understand the purpose of the ordinance, I think it's, when we say to encourage people or lead them to, it's not saying you can't do it. So from that point, I kind of have a little bit of rub with David saying we didn't meet all of those criteria.
Yeah, if there was a commercial lot across the street, we'll build it there instead, but that's really not what we have here.
And the other thing is, even when we did our own towers, we had to find a place that was high enough. You know, you just couldn't stick it in the ground anywhere. It had to be a certain elevation. So this is not just like you can just go and do it. You have to do some science around it. So, yeah, I mean,
The other part is, one of the issues that's strong for me is we just approved, and we're gonna follow on approval of 1,100 homes.
Y'all just.
Yeah, yeah. Let's make sure, yes, and turn around, and then we need to make sure that when those homes are being built, there's a cell phone tower business to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Out at Sun City, where I just happen to live, there was a number of opportunities, and people had to change carriers because some carriers just didn't get to us. And they changed carriers and said, hey, I can't talk out here. I'm changing carriers to a different carrier to be able to get to it. We need to start setting up for, if those 1,100 homes are built, that we're going to be prepared to have cell phone tower out there. That's part of the stuff we've got to do.
And I've
Okay.
occasionally dropped calls on 155
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Could I make one comment? So-
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right. Under FCC orders, and I'm not referring to the one that Mr. Fenton cited, a local government decision on a cell tower must be supported, James, you will know this term, by clear and convincing or substantial evidence. And we will have to issue a written opinion on the basis for denial.
But we don't have to do that on approval.
Oh, no, but if it's denied, you have to provide your basis, the basis for the order or for the decision in a
Vice Chair?
written order.
Commissioner Flowers Taylor brought up a good point with what we were trying to do a few years ago and still in theory are trying to do. Is there a way to, say, hey, you also have to give us access if we need it to their tower?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Is there a way to put that on as a condition?
Absolutely. And that would be an encouragement of staff to the board that if you make the decision to move forward with approval, that we're allocated space at certain heights along the tower for public safety purposes and government purposes.
Is that already part of it? Is that automatic, Newton, or do I need to add that as a condition? I mean, because it's public.
David, is
I
that in your?
I assume that's kind of part of it.
Is that part of your
I don't think you guys
conditions?
proposed that.
I didn't hear that.
I had no approval conditions. I recommended denial.
We would only ask that the county work with us on where you place your equipment.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If it's a 155 tower, usually EMS equipment is good at about 90 to 100 feet. Those spaces, that area is below the commercially viable spaces, so that wouldn't be an issue.
Would you have an issue at 110 or 115? I think that's where we're looking at 110.
Now that,
Simply because of the elevation for that area.
we'd have to see if we can work through that, if we could maybe place your equipment or right there in the same space with other commercial equipment. If the two are incompatible, or if they're compatible, we can.
Considering compatibility.
Yeah, we can work. I think those are engineering things we can work through.
Then let's
have that.
add that as a
Yes.
condition, considering compatibility,
David, you need to have that in there.
Access to it.
Yeah,
As a
That's a
condition,
major
so-
consideration for us, simply because we are currently in need of a tower for that side of the county for emergency radio equipment.
So then that's my motion, is motion to approve with that condition. Yeah,
And I'm,
with that as
let's
a-
make
with
sure,
staff
I'm pretty,
conditions?
With
I'm
staff
pretty hard on that condition.
yeah.
It's gotta be what we need to be able to do for public safety.
Obviously, it can't override the primary use of it, but like, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna put a new fire station up there, we're gonna,
Correct. We need to be able to do that.
And
All right,
the applicant understands that.
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
do.
all right. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I like it, we're on the same side, bro.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, application number 5, 2501 Flume, Raul Matias, owner, 2407 Old Atlanta Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the 3rd Land District, parcel number 104050009, consisting of 11.54 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R2 Single Family Residential and C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community for a townhome development in a commercial corridor rural neighborhood area, thus requiring a future land use map amendment.
Director?
Okay, so, these items for 2407 and 2230 North Expressway are actually linked. The reason being is on the map, you'll see that they're both proposed to be rezoned to the R6 for the townhome community, and if approved, be combined. So let me go through the rationale here. You have
Tell us what R6,
What's about R6 again? I'm sorry.
R6.
what's allowed in
definition.
R6?
Townhomes and things of that nature, the more, the condos, the more attached housing.
Okay.
So one thing, you got a flume here, a flume amendment, because it's in a commercial corridor and technically a rural neighborhood area. Then you have the rezoning itself, then if that's approved, you would have the variance for the rear entry, garages, and he was not able to get all the amenities on there. So this is a little bit messy in terms of process with all the various stages you go through. And let me remind the board, if, say, the rezoning is not approved, there'd be no sense in listening to the variance application because of it.
And if the flume's not approved,
Correct.
you would stop.
So, staff recommendation and planning commission recommendation on the flume was actually approval, because of this wording in the comp plan, which is a little bit vague in my opinion, but nevertheless, here it is. US 1941 corridor is a commercially zoned along its length, making additional commercial development likely. The county's Northeast Expressway Improvement Overlay, which coincides with that same commercial corridor, which was adopted in 2022, allows additional permitted uses, including residential and mixed-use developments along the corridor. Overlay district focuses on improving the quality of development, so on and so forth. So the fact that the North Expressway overlay coincides with that commercial corridor, it essentially kind of drives the uses of that corridor more than the commercial corridor area does. So that's why it in there with the flume, it seems to align with the flume because it does allow some residential and other things other than commercial. However, when you get to the rezoning application, and that was recommended for denial by myself and the planning commission for the entire development, it is lacking, exceeds the impervious surface requirement for R6 zoning. It also lacks quite a few of the amenities that are listed in there that you need to have for an R6 development. So in essence, the rezoning was recommended for denial based on that site plan and what it showed, and the increased impervious over what it needed to have, and the lack of having all the amenities it needed to have. That said, should the board choose to approve this with the variance for the rear entry garages, I've stated before in a couple other developments already that I don't believe the rear entry garages work. And they're certainly not gonna work on this property as narrow as it is. You have a very narrow tract on this, which really makes you only have one possible layout, a road in the middle and townhomes on either side. You will not have enough room to space out rear entry on there, nor would I doubt the people on Westmoreland and other streets adjacent to it would want to see the rear entry garages on there. So this is kind of a mixed bag of a little bit of approval, but the basic rezoning part of it with the current site plan was recommended for denial by both myself and the planning commission. Mr.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Hank Dudek, 1325 Calderwood Court, Smyrna, Georgia 30080. I'm with Devin Riley. Here today to present our vision for what we think would be, and do we have the presentation by the way? What we think would be a great neighborhood for this commercial corridor district. We understand the neighbors' apprehension and some of their problems with the proposed neighborhood, and we'd like to go through that as well today. Again, the vision here is, if we'll move ahead, you can see here is a rendering. What I heard in our first meeting from the neighbors is concern that these are just going to end up being apartments. Well, these are not going to be apartments. These are not going to be rental units. In fact, we would have no problem with you stipulating a rental percentage if you'd like, which has been done in other districts or jurisdictions where we got approvals. The other thing that we think we're doing here is we're creating a private community with buffers to both sides, to the Westmoreland homeowners and to the Sunset homeowners. By not doing the rear car entry, we're keeping the buffers of the trees that are already currently there. So they're not hopefully going to be bothered except for the actual construction, obviously. That would be bothersome. We understand that. And so obviously you have certain times you're allowed to do construction, that sort of thing, on building anyway set up in the zoning. Some of the other concerns were, runoff. We heard that earlier today. What's going to happen to runoff? This is a self-contained community. We have entrance and exit on our, we got North Expressway and Old Atlanta Road. So we're not coming in through Westmoreland. We're not coming through Sunset. We're trying not to bother the neighbors on purpose, which is why we added North Expressway to the purchase of this property specifically, so we did not bother the neighbors. We heard people talking about commercial property tonight and how upset they are that they're gonna be putting a gas station. Well, that could go for this commercial property that's currently there as well. We're not doing that. This is really gonna end up being green space. I do applaud Spalding County. Was mentioned earlier, we do urban development, which is just not true. We do development in downtown Smyrna, downtown Kennesaw, Bartow County. Those are not, I assure you, urban areas. Those are suburban areas where we go in and we try to make a nice development. And so we're very proud of that. If we slide through here, I don't want to have a long presentation, but I do want to show you the proposed state. So this is an actual visual, a rendering from a potential builder who's interested in this property. But as David said, the ordinance is a little bit robust when it comes to, say, 77 townhomes. The amenities package is quite cumbersome and only creates a problem for the homeowners for liability, expenses, the cost of the actual properties. So it doesn't make sense when you're doing a 77 townhome subdivision to throw in a big town, a big building there with a gym, that sort of thing, where we're gonna have liability. It's gonna cost a couple $100,000. The HOA membership is gonna have to pay for it. And that's another thing too. The HOA, one thing that was talked about by the homeowners was code enforcement in this area and how concerning it is they don't have enough code enforcement. Well, an HOA protects not only the homeowners, but the folks in the neighborhood as well from those situations. So again, by having an HOA in the ordinance, you know, there's already gonna be built-in protections there, I believe, for code enforcement. If we'll move along, please. Again, this is an actual visual. One thing we would be fine with, if you wanted to condition us for no vinyl siding, that sort of thing, from you know, from making sure this is a high enough end for you, we would have no problem with that condition. Move forward, please. And I will state also, you saw that we have one-car garages on these properties, so you're not gonna have people parking on streets. If you look at our site plan, which we'll get to,
Hey, please.
and this is an idea of the three-bedroom, two bath, 1,430 square feet. This is one of the floor plans, one of the builders who's interested in purchasing would like to build. Move forward. Again, these are some of their models, give you an idea. You can move forward. Here's a copy of the site plan. Again, talking about amenities, and the reason we applied for the variance for the amenities, again, you're driving up cost to the actual new homeowners. Commissioner Taylor talked about we need affordable housing in this area. We don't have enough. Well, I mean, these will start in the low twos, most likely, and offers, again, if you look at our plan, while these might be townhomes, these are, you know, typically you'd get 6-unit townhomes all up against each other, and it would be a huge density issue. But because you have a very tight ordinance where R6 is, it's not like that. We've got separation. We don't have straight line townhomes. You can see they're all on angles because we wanted to make sure this just didn't look like a cookie cutter type situation. And again, you can see to the rear, the nice thing about the new homeowners when they come in, they're gonna have a yard. It's a townhome, but it still has a yard. And that was one of the things the builder said when we brought this to him, and he said, we're not interested if you're gonna get rear car entry because that's not a saleable situation. That is not something somebody wants to have with all the concrete. So we're talking about impervious. One of the reasons, you know, David and the team didn't like it was because of the impervious, but if we followed all the R6 guidelines currently, our impervious would be way higher. So again, just thoughts for when you're looking at the zoning ordinance yourself, like there are some things that contradict each other. We could not, we've got over 5 acres of dedicated green space. Like that's huge for a townhome facility. Move forward, please. You can move forward again. So these are some past approval, and this is why it seems like people were a little bit upset. We wanted to see what's out there right now. So we pulled a listing for townhomes. You can move forward. In the area, and this is what we've got. There's not a lot here. There's really nothing to purchase in this specific area for new townhomes. You can move forward, please. This is Villages of Carrington, and again, it's very straight line. Move forward. You can see that the way there is no garage. I know people are upset because we only have 1-car garage, but I do believe some of the homes on Sunset don't have garages, if I'm correct, but maybe I'm wrong. Again, this is what's currently out there. There's not something nice and new. Continue, please. You've got Wolf Creek townhomes. My understanding, this has been kind of a pain in the side. I don't know where these are located specifically. Move forward, please. But you can see you've got just poor craftsmanship. One thing we pride ourselves on is that we will be using a national builder, a true builder to come in here to build quality craftsmanship. You can move forward. Move forward, please. And again, some of the things, you can go back one. You know, Villages of Carrington or Wolf, they're not, you've got vinyl siding. We would agree to make sure we have hardy plank siding, the best materials. An HOA, you can go ahead. Again, we talked about, just to sum it up, 1-car garage. We've got the sidewalks in the community. Community gazebo, dog park and fireplace, decorative entrance, and then you've got 3 separate areas for guest parking. The neighbors are upset that we might have parking, but we've got 3 separate areas for parking here. So we're not gonna have situations where there's gonna be cars parked all over the place. Go ahead. One more. So again, just looking through the comps, you can keep going to 2 more, please. in this corridor, there's been nothing but two-story townhomes built in over 20 years. That is a viable product for somebody to come live in this specific area. Our goal here and the vision for this is to build something nice. We're asking you to help us do that. I'm not sure if you were to do another development here, if you were to put homes on Westmoreland, I don't know that that would make them very happy if there are homes facing Westmoreland. So we've created, I think, what is the best situation for this specific land. Move forward, please. Here's the logistics real quick. So we've got, ownership versus rentals. There's a lot of rentals in this area, not just, and again, we're saying you can condition us for no rentals, or not no rentals, but, the typical 10 or 20% rentals. We don't have a problem with that, because we're planning to sell to folks who are gonna come and live here. Across the street, you look at, that development Tranquility, that is a super dense, even though it has a lot of land, it was super dense as to where they actually built the apartments. So that impervious, technically, if you didn't have all the extra land, was very high. You move forward, please. Again, just the same thing about Tranquility. We can move forward. So this is a very small development, considering what we have at, some of these other developments we put up here. Again, the reason we're asking for the zoning ordinance not to apply so strictly to every development here, I know why you probably put it in there, because you don't want certain things to happen that have happened in the past. Continue, please. And again, you can continue. We talked about impacting the neighbors. We're trying not to, so that's why we run in our street on the North Expressway and out of Old Atlanta. We listened to the zoning board. They talked about a decel lane, so we've added that to our, on North Expressway, added that to our plan. Go ahead, please. This is a builder sample. Again, this is an active community they're building. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. So the community benefits, again, we're talking about runoff. You can see the slope of the property. We maintain our own water runoff and our storm management drains down there by North Expressway. I know there were concerns about that. We can continue. And we can continue again. The idea that we have all these businesses around here, and as Commissioner Taylor said, we have an affordable housing shortage. I think this helps, and it helps support the local businesses as well. I know change is scary. People don't like it. I live by the Battery, the stadium, and when they were going to put that in, everybody said this is going to be a nightmare. Our values are going to, the traffic's going to be terrible. It's going to be horrible. We'll never survive this. And it's been, I don't know how many years later, and it's been great, quite frankly. And it did not affect people the way they thought it would. Move forward, please. Again, these are just some of the commercial places that will be utilized. Continue. So we talk about we don't have code enforcement officers. The idea here is we are bringing revenue to Spalding County. We have impact fees, $3,500. It's $250,000 plus just roughly around $250,000 a year in revenue. We can continue. Again, we think what we've done here, the vision, is the best use of the property. Home ownership, it's important to us. It's been done in every location we've ever developed. This is not some low quality product we're attempting to bring in. That's not what we do. Improves the water runoff, offers new housing, supports local business, improves tax base, supports public services. And then again, we have the homeowner association to keep in line anything from a code enforcement standpoint. Move forward. So we are asking for the variance request, no rear car entry, amenities approved as shown on the plan, and then the impervious we'll go into in a second. Move forward, please. So these are the impervious counts of other counties, and I bring this to your attention only to say that we couldn't have done anything more if we were gonna get R6. So we've got R6, and our impervious is as low as it can get, because we did not do any rear entry, so we didn't put in all the alleys or anything that went along with that. And it's, I think David says the impervious is 25%, but if you look at the surrounding counties and the impervious, it would be impossible for us to meet 25%, or technically, it's not even R6 zoning, it would have to be like an R4 zoning. So we are requesting that the impervious at 33, I think, roughly, on the plan be approved as is, not 25%, which is very low if you go look at any, and we've got the actual pullouts for this as well that will follow up. So if you get a chance at some point, you can see we pulled these directly from the ordinances of the counties in the area. Move forward, please. Again, these are just some of the printouts, and they're available to you on the presentation. You move forward. And again. You can move forward, yep. And again. One more time. And these are just some of our past projects. Again, typically we deal in a higher end situation, but this is a situation we thought there was a need here in Griffin. And hopefully we've presented enough information to you to, again, trust us that we would come in here and build something nice and it would be valuable to the community. That's it. Any questions?
Questions by commissioners?
I don't have any questions. I do, not of the applicant. I wanted to know what the lot yield was
So the
for R6.
max density is 6 units per acre. He is right at that.
So he's at 66 acres.
Well, yes, 6 units per acre.
I mean, he's at 66
5.99.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions before we get ready to go forward? Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to deny.
I have a motion to deny, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
If we deny this, it renders 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 moot, right? Like it renders the rest of this.
Yes, you'll have to vote on the next application in the same way, but
Okay.
yes.
All right,
I'm assuming that's passes,
So right
Ms.
now,
Quinn,
you're just voting on item number 5.
which is this one.
Ms. Quinn, did you have a comment?
Yes, so we're voting on the future land use map
Right.
change right now.
Yes.
I just wanted to share with this gentleman, I appreciate what you've said. We have a history in this community of builders and developers coming here and building homes, and then they're all bought up by corporations, and then they become rental property that are unmanaged. Not to say that that's what you would do, but you need to understand from where we're standing, this has been our history. And as you spoke, I was looking at, what's the, Tranquility. Now, Tranquility sits on 21 acres. The front of it is just, it's looking like what they're requesting. And I'm not understanding why it was so important to have 10 acres of green space that is really usable for everyone else. And the architectural requirements, when we look at it from up top, well, of course, I've been in Tranquility. It doesn't meet the same requirements that we have in our residential. I think that we need to stand with what we're saying in terms of what we want to happen architecturally. I think that it's not real to think that someone in a 3-bedroom home will just have one car. I mean, we have an ordinance that's gonna be coming out in a minute that says you cannot park on the street on a county road. This just won't work for me. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
I love it when we're on the same side.
All right, I have, yes, I love it too. All right, I have, any more discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of denial, please raise your hand. 5, motion's denied. Thank you. Thank you, Devin, we appreciate your efforts. All right, now, what do we have to do to carry the rest of these?
The same thing.
Same thing. Flume would be the first vote, and if
If
that
you'll read.
is,
I will. Application number 62502Z, Raul Matias, owner, 2407 Old Atlanta Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 104050009, consisting of 11.54 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from R2 Single Family Residential and C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community for a townhome development.
Motion denied.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion carries.
Application number 72502B, Raul Matias, owner, 2407 Old Atlanta Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 104050009, consisting of 11.54 acres. The applicant is requesting a variance for rear access and certain amenity requirements for a townhome development.
Do I have a motion to deny?
Motion denied.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion carries.
Application number 8, 2502 Flume, North Expressway Incorporated, owner 2230 North Expressway, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 101 of the Third Land District, parcel number 104050010, consisting of 2.24 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from C1 Highway Commercial to R6 Planned Residential Community.
My concern here is the Lakes of Green Valley are the only green industrial park in the southeastern United States, and we're super proud of it. So, is it, as long as the applicant's okay with it, attaching, just like we did on the east side when they came in, I'd like to attach those same requirements, which aren't crazy. Like, I don't think you're have any kind of plans of breaking them to this property as well, so that we can continue the contiguality. I might be making that word up, but the contiguality of the green industrial park nature that we've got.
So you're indicating that you would like to attach the covenants of Green Valley to this particular parcel?
Yeah. and the requirements of the green. Again, I don't think that actually interferes with what you're trying to do, from my understanding, talking to David Lucky. So, again, the guys to the east came and actually specifically asked for that, because then they get all kinds of, green subsidies
All right.
from the feds.
Do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Regarding that, I don't know what the requirements are. I'd like to look at those, but.
Mr. Gruber, we need your name and address,
Oh,
please.
yeah, sorry,
My
I
name
jumped
is
the gun.
Chris Gruber,
Get excited.
520 Hardy Road, Brooks, Georgia.
What exactly?
So my company, we work in the car wash industry exclusively. So you guys drive your cars through the car wash, they're dirty, they come out clean on the other side. There's a series of tanks that collect all that dirt and debris. So we suck all that debris and stuff out. And so with our facility, we'll just be separating the liquids and processing it like a normal processing facility, almost exactly what what they're doing next door, the business next door to ours.
And it actually feeds that back into the system, right? Like it creates clean water.
We'll have an industrial pretreatment permit through.
Yeah.
and
What
then
do
we take
you do with
the solids?
the remainder? Yeah.
The solids go to Republic, to Pine Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not just like dumped out back or something.
We're trying to talk to them about working together with another company.
Yes, sir. We've had conversations with their adjoining parcel owner,
Who is,
Divert.
that does,
They do, they feed into
The gas
the
line.
natural gas line for the United States. They feed into that part through digesting old food into the gas system. We've encouraged them to reach out to your company because they produce leachate. So they're looking for a pretreatment as well. They will either pretreat on site or they will utilize your company to pretreat leachate to go back into the system.
so if somebody could pull this up on Q Public, I just want to see where it is. I can't pull 118.
It's directly across the street from the vinegar plant.
Yeah, you pass the aquatic center, and there's like the vinegar plant, and it's just in the woods that are on the right there.
So it's everything around that. Let's see.
There's the lakes of Green Valley.
Yeah,
Lord,
my
I
next door
can't
neighbor
hardly
would
read this.
processes
First
septic.
of all, I can't read the street's name. What on this map that you
Rehoboth.
we have?
Isn't it Rehoboth?
What is this street coming into that property? What street is that?
It's
So this is
Rehoboth
Rehoboth, and
and
that's
the Lakes Parkway.
Lakes Parkway, and it comes around.
Crouch Road.
And that's
Coming in
Correct.
across.
It's across the street from that.
Okay, so this is all industrial.
Yep.
As we speak.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm trying to get a picture. It's AR1,
It's the
but
lakes of Green Valley.
I just want to make sure people are not living there. Okay.
Yep.
All right. My question was answered.
Any other, Director, any other comments you'd like to make?
No, sir, I just had the planning commission recommended approval, as did I. I had the 4 approval conditions, which does touch on some architectural and landscaping standards, but if the board wants to add the covenant standards from
Lakes of Green
Lakes of
Valley.
Green Valley, that's a,
All right.
I think
You
it's gonna
haven't
actually be a
seen-
bit
You haven't
beneficial.
seen that information yet.
I haven't.
Do we want to
No,
table
I mean-
for them so that you can go check it out?
Yeah.
I mean, the people to the east ask for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's gonna interfere with your business. The people right next to you are doing essentially the same thing except with natural gas.
I hate to back him into a corner where he doesn't know what he's doing.
The other issue to that is, I mean, we have the land is under contract and it's, as of tomorrow, it's my due diligence period's over, so tabling it doesn't really help me.
But making a
Is it,
decision
I
on
guess
being
in general
green.
in nature, are we talking like, is this like, give me any kind of detail about it?
So
Like,
there's a whole list of green standards that have to be met, but you don't have to meet all of them. Like you get, you know, and then so it has to be like LEED certified. It has to do with your own insulation and how you actually build the building. Like that all has to be sort of green. But you see the factory next door and it met all of them. You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, so my next door, what about the next door neighbor to?
All of those
my
met
left?
those standards. Yep. All
On the
those.
same side of the road as me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, what's?
But then there's also requirements for like, you can't have like discharge into the environment, like it has to all be contained and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah,
So
it all is.
again, I don't think it's going to interfere with you at all. And frankly, I think it makes you eligible for a bunch of federal subsidies and stuff, so, you
Okay.
know, like, that's certainly why the other guys have asked for it to be added onto their property, so.
Okay.
If it becomes an issue because, oh, there's this one, you can come back, but like, I don't think it should. But I mean, there are additional things you'll have to jump through.
Sure.
But I
David,
don't
do you,
think- I
David,
think
do you
still
see
do it.
anything that would interfere with what he's trying to build?
Not super familiar with all the green lead stuff, but I mean, he has a lot of property to work with. I think he wants to do quality building materials anyway. and
Could be a
things of
steel
that
building
nature.
structure.
Is that piece of property in Spalding County? Okay, I see that you have on here sewer nearby. What happened to the fact that before we do any of these developments, we have to have something from Spalding County Water and Sewer Facility?
This
as
one's
what
This is all in
kind
the
of-
city.
This one is, it would be city sewer, county,
Yes.
everything else.
No, wait a minute, I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying, who is the provider for that area? Is that the
It is the city of Griffin, yes, ma'am.
That's
city
a
of Griffin, that is their service area?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay.
typo I have on there. I should have said, Griffin. Yes, we confirmed it's Griffin will provide sewer.
Okay.
And
The,
it
Okay,
will.
I hear what you're saying, I just want someone to verify what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm really
All right.
not feeling confident that that is the city of Griffin sewer area.
Yeah,
It is
the
outside
city
of
does
the
the entire.
industrial-
Did you
Lake
get a
Stream.
letter?
But it's outside of the industrial park.
It's
across the
outside
street.
the
That's-
industrial park toward the city of Griffin, and that is their service area. I've actually had the conversation with Joseph about that. This was, previously, Mr. Picklington came for that subdivision that he wanted to put in that was denied by the Board of Commissioners. And the document that he had indicated that it was, city of Griffin service area as well.
David, don't you have to have a letter from the provider?
He does.
yes,
He
you will.
does have to have that letter.
Prior to permitting and all, yes. I thought I had
Yeah, prior
it
to
was a
permitting.
map in here with a green service area, but I don't see it now.
Yeah, I just, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I know that the city of Griffin service area was the lakes at Green Valley. Now, how it got to be everything that's adjacent to that or contiguous to that is not how that's supposed to work.
Matter of fact, there's a sanitary sewer line and easement that runs on the back of his
It
property.
runs on
that
his
he will tap
property.
into. So it's on his property.
I hear all that, but I'm talking about whose service area it is.
It is their
Okay.
service area,
All
yes,
right.
ma'am.
I think with this, it would add, like the condition I'm adding, I think you would have to go and contact David Lucky and make sure that those boxes get checked. But again, I don't think it's anything that's.
He comes back through us.
Okay.
So
Okay.
is this a closed system? I mean, everybody was here a week ago trying to figure out if the septic from somebody's house is gonna leak out, and here we are talking about breaking down chemical waste, and how is that gonna?
That's a good question.
It's all contained inside.
It's a closed system.
Well, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but
Yeah.
how do we know that?
Yes,
I think that's the whole point of the system.
So the way it works is you'll have, we have everything in a truck, like, just almost exactly like the building that's next door to us that processes waste, like septic waste. Except for ours is, everything dumps into one pit. And again, we're not talking about, there is no hazardous material, there's no hazardous chemicals. It's car wash debris, the stuff that gets washed off your car. So the system will, basically all of your solids will come out in one big chunk. All your liquids will go down into a big pit. It'll be about, the truck's 3,000 gallons, the pit's 30,000 gallons, and then it settles, goes through a series of tanks, and then there's a pump that comes out the last tank. There'll be 4 tanks.
And those are all filter tanks, right? They're
Yeah,
not-
the filter
not
tanks comes
storage.
out of the last tank, and then we'll have a processing facility. It'll go through a bunch of equipment. And then, the city of Griffin has a industrial pretreatment permit. So you have different, it has to have tests ran and all those things before it gets put back to the sewer.
So the final waste
Yes, ma'am.
that you're not able to clean out or whatever
That's true.
will go to where?
Pine Ridge,
Okay, in an
a
enclosed.
roll-off truck. It'll be like, it's, if you look at it, it's not that we can't process it. It's just like sand and dirt and mud and stuff that came off of cars.
Okay, so then you'll have to pay,
Correct.
sewer whatever
it'd
it
be
is,
like
the
a dump
dumping.
transfer.
If, they'll have to
or-
pay tipping fees, yes.
Tipping fee, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, other questions?
Do we have a motion? Hey, can I say one thing, guys?
Yes.
I've been here, like, this is my second or third time through this. I really appreciate you guys. Like, what y'all do isn't easy, so I just want to say that. Y'all put up with a lot.
That is really true. I want to kind of say the same thing. When in 2016, when the Lakes Green Valley, was on the SPLOST and it was this big green initiative, and people feared that we would have to then continue to do the same thing, and we have people that are coming in next door to that and moving our industrial area on their own. This isn't, SPLOST money didn't go into funding this. SPLOST money didn't go, you know what I'm saying? And you look, same thing that's happening to the east. I think this is exactly what we wanted from the Industrial Development Authority, exactly what we wanted from our industrial park, and I just, this is the first of many. I'm sure that more are going to come and want to do the same thing. So it's working. That's what I'm trying to say.
What about the walkability? Now, in the industrial park, I know that they don't have a requirement for sidewalks. But anything else that's being built in the county that is commercial or industrial, we are requiring them to do that in front of their property. So what are we gonna be doing there?
It's not required, and it wouldn't connect to anything, nor would it ever connect to anything.
But that's how you get started. Because you don't know that down the road, there won't be something beyond Rehoboth. There won't be whoever it was that wanted to do a development that actually might be a development that we would like. Because we've talked about having additional housing in that area if sewers
But on
available.
both sides of him and across the street are just other factories. Like there's all the other industrial stuff. So and they don't have sidewalks, and they're already in.
So, but they are facing the street. That's what I'm saying. We required Minerva to put sidewalks down 155, and we also required them to put it on Amelia Road. So we
their
either
housing
are going to follow the same pattern with each development that we have, because we've known all along in requiring people during these zonings to do sidewalks. At some point, we will be the fill-in via transportation. But this is how you began that process. So I'm just very concerned that each time we get here for this, we have to always remember to say to David, why was there nothing about sidewalks on
David, is there sidewalks at all?
Out on Rehoboth.
And there's also not on Arthur K. Bolton. Like it would make no
But there's
sense
no
to
one
put sidewalks
facing
there.
Arthur K. Bolton.
To require them with Minerva's 1,700 housing project, like that makes sense. To require them in an industrial park, it's
a green
is
park.
nonsensical.
You want people to walk to here. That's
Yes,
all,
and we
that was
want the
all
nature
said.
trail that's behind the vinegar factory on the other side. Like to put sidewalks is nonsensical. Like it's.
I just think that we need to be consistent.
Yeah,
We
David.
were going to
We
require.
are. We have these rules. It's not required.
Sidewalks is a big deal. I thought we had all talked about.
Yeah, it's not required, and I don't know why we haven't gotten that done after, 5 years. But we have been consistently requiring people to do that if their development faces the street.
Not industrial. We've never required that for industrial. Ever.
But this isn't in the industrial park.
It doesn't matter if it's an industrial park. It matters if it's industrial. Any industrial, anywhere, we've never required sidewalks.
Yes, we have.
Name one.
That's not my area. Somebody else name it, but I know that we have. Because every time that I've sat on this board, every time a zoning application comes, I bring up the fact that there are no sidewalks.
Yes.
There's no people access, there's no walkability from there to any place. And so
And
I'm
look,
bringing it up.
And I agree with you when it comes to commercial. I certainly agree with you when it comes to residential. Even when the new Zaxby's on 1941 that connects to nothing, eventually that will connect to stuff. Yep, that's a commercial thing. This is an industrial building, an industrial park that's built up and owned.
That is facing a main street. That is a corridor. 155 Isn't that one?
Just-
No, it's more Rehoboth.
Oh,
Okay.
There's just no reason to have.
all right,
so.
I understand those two. Thoughts from other two commissioners?
Good with it.
You guys are easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
You let us duke it out.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what I'm good with it means. Can you clarify that?
Oh, I mean, I'm with, what they saying, you know.
With sidewalks, requiring sidewalks or not?
Without the sidewalk, I mean, if it's industrial.
And I'm without the sidewalks, through there, because the nearest house is like, hell, half a mile going toward Rehoboth Middle School and all. There's nobody there that should be, there's no reason to be walking down through there right now. But I'm like, James, like the Zaxby's on 1941 and all that. Yes, there's a place for it. You got neighborhoods behind it, people walking to it. I can understand it there, but here, no.
Well, when you get sued because you have different requirements for different people, you won't be able to explain the subjectivity of it. I'm just saying. Call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
The answer to any legal question is maybe. That's,
Motion to approve.
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
yeah,
I did motion
Brian.
to
Oh, I'm
approve.
sorry.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
With the conditions, you're,
Oh, wait, I didn't
you're
already make the
agreeing
motion?
to on the green standards that we're
I thought I
talking.
made the motion with the conditions. And...
I thought you did too, but okay.
I thought you
All right, we've got a motion with green, right?
Yeah, so
And we
staff
have-
conditions and the green.
And the second here.
And a second.
Any more discussion? All those in
hope it's a
favor, please
wonderful
signify by
success.
raising your hand. 5-0. Thank you.
Yes, appreciate you.
If you have a problem with the rules on you come back to
Yeah.
David, he'll come back to us and we'll talk through them.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you all.
I think it was gonna be a-
All right,
Mr. Chair, we're in old business. Item number 1, second reading resolution for rezoning, special exception and variance for North Tawalaga Development, Thomas D. Wilson Jr. et al. Minerva Land LLC, 3320 North McDonald Road, Griffin, Georgia, approximately 562.743 total acres located in land lot 115, 116, 141, 142, 143, 147, 148, and 149 of the second land district, parcel numbers 20101, 001, 201, 01, 001A, 201, 01, 001B, 201, 01, 001D, 200, 01, 001, 200, 01, 001B, and 201, 01, 001F.
all right, this gives us a resolution for what we approved on the 19th, correct?
Motion to approve.
And Minerva agrees with all of this.
It's the same thing.
I'm
It's
just making sure that okay. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 3, all those opposed? 2, motion carries.
Mr. Chair, item number 2 under other business, second reading ordinance for rezoning and variance for 2125 Jackson Road. Mark Anderson, 2125 Jackson Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 226 of the third land district, parcel number 212-01007B.
Which one is this?
I don't see that.
This was the rezoning from R2 to AR1, the beekeeping guy.
Oh, beekeeping, sure.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
We have to have a second reading on zoning?
For the resolution.
For the resolution, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Thank
For
you.
reminding me which one.
Dr.
Chair.
Ledbetter,
Sorry.
number 3 per the county attorney's email yesterday is not necessary to have a second reading for the special exception for the church since it does not involve a rezoning. Therefore, because it was so late when we got that message, it's still on the agenda but doesn't need to be.
All right, thank you much.
All right.
Mr. Chair, that's all the business for this evening.
I want to make sure everybody understands that we're looking at zoning rewrites right now. People talk to me all the time about not understanding and I didn't know that you were doing that, and that's not transparent. We're in the midst of doing it. The Planning Commission is doing it. They started last time. They're doing the residential. So I want to make sure everybody understands. If you're interested in how those come out, now's the time to come out, read, work through that to be able to get it done.
And it's still in the thought bubble phase.
Yes,
This,
this is-
this is not the proposed plan. This is.
This is a ways
didn't
to
mean
go.
anger
We've
all
got
the
to start
farmers.
with something on the document, and we're working our way through that on the document. All right, do I have anything else from any of the commissioners? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. We're adjourned. Thank you.
That was painful.